Cymru Creations is a non-for-profit multimedia company based in Tredegar. When the COVID pandemic hit us, we was in a state of quite not knowing how to proceed. We had multiple projects going on, two of which, our Blaenau Gwent Film Academy, which we have 200 young members, and our Over 60 Social Club, which has about the same amount of numbers, about 200. We had to quickly change our parameters, what we was doing, from physical contact with people to actually no contact at all and just look as a support service. And to change a company from an events organisation and training organisation to a support network was done with efficiency, but it was a lot of hard work. But it was done, and it was done to a nice standard.
I decided to volunteer with Cymru Creations when the pandemic first happened, because I was in university and all of the lectures stopped within a couple of days. I was seeing everything on Facebook that Cymru Creations were posting about doing shopping for people, and I just thought, I want to help.
My company had to stop. I wanted to give my time to others that needed my help, so I decided to become a volunteer. There was a number of things that were on the go at the time, but there was also a number of volunteers coming through the door. In total, I think there was about 45, all giving up their free time to help Cymru Creations adapt to what was needed to be done at the time.
And there was a lot to be done, considering we had only set up 2 weeks at this point. We were completing 40, 50 jobs a day. We'd have 10 at the most, probably even more at any one time, just doing shopping. And that's not even to mention the food parcels or prescription pickups. And the phone just constantly kept ringing. And we were delivering school meals every single morning. And it was massive. We had so many people down the school. Even after we delivered the school meals every single day and that stopped, we carried on doing the educational packs and the hygiene packs. And then we started doing food parcels every single week as well. It was just insane the amount of work we had on, but we managed to get through it and we did it quite well.
The decision to actually form the task force was a difficult decision financially, but an easy decision on a moral basis. So we come together and actually decided that we will look for volunteers. That was one of the easiest things that come out of the task force. We had good support from borough councillors and fellow town councillors. And then we was very lucky to apply for funding to actually take on extra staff as coordinators, as shoppers, and people who could really look after the community. Our volunteer base was fantastic, but of course, when shops and businesses started to reopen, a lot of people had to go back to their jobs.
I got employed to be the coordinator, so I would be answering the phones and setting the jobs out for everyone to take during the day. It was quite hard to adapt to a job that had so much pressure, and potentially not picking up the phone could be whether someone gets fed or not, or whether someone gets their prescription that they desperately need or not.
I think we adapted very, very well. Of course, we had to kit out our premises with all one-way signs and sanitising units, and constantly update our policies to make sure that everything was in place.
From the start, Kevin always ensured we knew exactly what we were doing as far as safety was concerned. Every time we came into the office, we were told to make sure we had enough PPE in our cars. We had gloves supplied, aprons, masks.
And even over a year on, we are still very much operating, and we are making sure that safety is first for ourselves and everyone we help. We take extra precautions when it comes to these coronavirus shops with people who have been in contact with the virus. I'm always on the phone with them at least 3 or 4 times before we even show up at their house with their shopping, and we just run through the protocols with them over and over just to make sure they understand, and also to almost remind ourselves that we are safe if we follow these protocols. Like, this thing is in place in case we miss this thing.
It was a very difficult time for everybody involved, physically, mentally, and financially. But we are now close to delivering 17,000 in medication, food parcels, and anything that we could help with the community.
We are now working with social services. They contacted Cymru Creations. We're now working with them, supporting the vulnerable, with the referrals coming in for those that are still sick or still can't go outside. So we're there to do the shopping for them, or the prescription runs, or pay their rent, anything really that is important to them that needs doing.
From the very outset, we contacted our funders, who was funding our Over 60s Club and the Blaenau Gwent Film Academy. He was very understanding. Our film academy quickly got converted to an online presence, and every class we've taken so far have been, on one-to-one basis with Zoom or Teams or what have you. But it continued, and it continued very strongly. And our Over 60s Club, our funders was very happy that we keep supporting the people who come to the club with shopping trips, with extra food. And that was very important.
We adapted quite well as a team. None of us really had the experience of what was ahead of us, but we did quite well, and not only supporting the vulnerable, but we also supported each other as a team. There were days where we struggled because we were seeing the frustration on these vulnerable people's faces, the sadness because they couldn't see their families. We were the only ones they were seeing once a week. And the pleasure on their faces when we turned up with their shopping or their prescription, it was a pleasure to see.